and CEO of the company, to speak with us on the results. Mr. Deshpande, the company has posted a dollar revenue growth of 4.3%. Was that in line with your own expectations? Because it's come disappointing as far as the street is expected.
Numbers of 4.3% quarter-on-quarter growth are actually in line with and quite better than what we had expected. So the overall USD revenue was 104.76 million, and in rupee terms it's 701 crores, which is again a growth year-on-year of 33% in dollar terms and 40.2% in rupee terms. So they are actually in line and quite better than what we had expected. So we are quite happy with the numbers we see here.
Okay, quite happy with the numbers. The margins, though, have dropped by 80 basis points to 15.1% sequentially. What were the reasons for that?
So main reasons for margin dips are, of course, it's a Q1, which is usually the first quarter as compared to Q4. Q4 usually is a good quarter for the margins, and this is one reason. Second, of course, is that we had visa expenses that came in during this quarter. And again, this one is on Ind AS, which is different from the last year's quarter, which was on Indian GAAP. If you compare Indian GAAP to Indian GAAP or Ind AS to Ind AS quarter on quarter, there is actually a positive growth on profits Q4 to Q1, which is actually fairly positive news in general.
Mr. Deshpande, what was the revenue contribution from the IBM Watson deal this quarter, since that was a big chunk to your growth last quarter?
I cannot give you any specific revenue number on that one at this stage because it's still, it's not possible to reveal that. But overall, I can say that last quarter to this quarter, we had a decent growth on it. It's tracking. Most of it is revenue that is going to be revenue share, so it will not be consistent quarter on quarter. But if you look at the yearly trajectory and compare that with what we had seen in the last year from them, I think we are trending much better this year on the IoT business than we had planned last year. So overall, I think it's a good number that we have this quarter. However, these kinds of things have some cyclicity, and we will see what happens Q3, but Q4 calendar is usually the best quarter for IP revenues in general for IBM.
Okay, well, many IT companies have sounded a cautious note. Guidances have been cut as well. How is the demand environment shaping up for you?
We are quite optimistic this year about how it looks at the moment. We have made some organizational changes. We have made some changes in service lines that we are offering. And this was all planned in a sense that we do know that there are challenges in terms of just IT as such, because essentially what is happening is that the effort required for the same work is going down, and that is going to shift the way the business is going to shift. And we have been preparing for this for the last many years, for last 2 years at least, and we have made changes by adding more into IP and many other things. So while we might see some cyclicity on a quarter-on-quarter basis, I think if you look at us on a year-on-year basis, we should have fairly good growth during the financial year this year.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Deshpande, for joining us with your thoughts. So that's persistent.